Well, welcome to the Neon Cinema Studio up here at Tiff. Richie, Rajesh. Firstly, congratulations on being back here and having the film Siddharth play. Fresh off a plane from its premiere in Venice. How was it? Have you been to Venice before?
Never.
So for both of you, first time experiences in one of the world's most famous cities. What was that experience like?
Yeah, for me it was surreal. I kind of made a deal with myself years ago that I would never go to Venice and contribute to the issue of tourism unless I was invited by the festival. So it was for me kind of a rite of passage to earn that right. So I spent as much time there as I could, and the reception of the film was extremely warm. They were very moved. It's a very warm culture, and every time I had 10 seconds, I just took a boat off the Lido and went to Venice and just spent as much time there as I could. So.
And in terms of like having, Rajesh, what was your feeling being there?
I had read so much about Venice in my art history classes and all the Renaissance period and things like that. So it was like a fairy tale, and going back to the time, it was really nice. Walking there, it was like a time machine.
Were you curious about how, obviously the film is set in one very distinct culture, and crossing those cultures, whether it be playing here, an audience that you know, that you understand, that supports you, as opposed to going over and trying something in a completely different place, a completely different culture. How do you take what's essentially a quiet film and play it for people who speak very loudly with their hands?
Well, you know what? I mean, they latched on to one thing which was very much by design, as the film was shot in a very neorealistic style. And so they recognized that aspect of, a classical style of the history of their own cinema.
Right.
And beyond that, I've always said I feel like Italy is halfway between here and India in every way. So culturally, they related very much to the relationships in the film, the relationship of the religion plays in this film, the relationship between parents and children, familial bonds and stuff. I think Indian and Italians have a lot in common. So the public, I think, latched onto it. And the critics, half of them who were there are here, so it's the same audience.
That's good. Hopefully they continue their reception to it.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah. So also your first time in Toronto?
Yeah.
So here it's a different story because there's such a strong Indian community here. Did you know about that culture here? Did you already have people you knew who were here?
I knew certain people, and definitely Richie the most. And I know that this is a true metropolitan culture, and a lot of Indian diaspora is here. So in a way, I'm a little afraid.
You're afraid?
of facing a lot of Indian audience.
When you come to a new place here, do you know that there is some Indian supply available, so that you don't have to try new things if you don't want to? Do you make a point of going out and experiencing different things that you've never had before, or do you prefer to seek out the creature comforts of home?
When I visit a new city, definitely I try to feel the city, walk around a lot. That is the way I think.
Kana?
And Kana. And eating is the thing.
But not Tim Hortons.
Not too?
Not Tim Hortons. He doesn't even know what that is. It's good.
That's good.
It's a coffee place. I'm not, I'm not anti everything, but it's okay.
Richie, having the ability to show it to people you know well in this setting at TIFF, I've got to imagine that's a pretty a warm environment as well. And I know a lot of people have been waiting for that next feature narrative film from you. What do you hope they get from this? Is it a second installment in a potential trilogy of people with Indian name films?
First time someone's asked me that question. Again, none of these films are about, I'm not designing my career in a specific way. It's just emerging that these things are happening, and maybe it is. It's oddly enough the next script I'm writing happens to take place in Delhi again, and maybe it's the next step in that. But I also hope that people recognize. I had a conversation with somebody recently where they said, would you still make movies if your name couldn't be on them? And they were recognized really well. I said, I don't care if my name's on them, as long as whoever's name is on them is the same name on all of them. So
Right.
people recognize the evolution in the thinking and the body of work. That's
Right.
really what's important to me. And they see what's evolving. So I hope people who have seen Amol and see Siddharth tomorrow would see an evolution, but it's building on itself.
I remember after Amal, there were so many experiences you had there that were unpleasant in a sense, or just difficult, challenging, perhaps. Subjecting yourself to shooting in that environment again, and perhaps even more so. I mean, some of those like little nooks and crannies and alleyways in Siddharth are congested, and you feel that part of the city as Rajesh's character is also feeling the part of that. Why had you forgotten all those things? By the time you got around to this, it's like we only remember the good and not the bad.
Elliot had, just as a background, I had written an article for his magazine profiling the making of the film, so he knows the details of the making of Hummel. No, it was actually much easier this time, because when I went in, I didn't forget any of that stuff. I forgot the emotional pain, but I didn't forget what happened. And by design, we went in with a very different plan. So the crew, we had a crew of 12 people on this film. We didn't have a crew of 80. And I hate to say this, but there was no white people in the crew. It was, we had our producers, and my producing partners were Canadian.
Yeah.
For the rest, when we were really in certain places that were very dense, train stations and things like that, nobody would have known we were shooting.
Yeah.
And that was really important. So the less attention you draw in that environment, the better the fruits.
And you had, even though it wasn't the famed person by the same name, by casting someone named Irfan Khan, you probably got away with a lot more too.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, it's
yes.
a movie with Irfan Khan.
Yeah. No, we didn't tell anybody yet.
Oh, it's a child version.
Yeah. Oh, we don't.
Yeah.
But that Irfan Khan is with double R.
Double R, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
And wait about 20 years and see what he does.
Yeah. And so your other movie that's also been made this year, Haley Joel Osment, right? Gillian Anderson,
Mm-hmm.
Rufus Sewell.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me a little bit about that while we got you here.
That's a science fiction drama that I had been writing for 12 years. I took a 4-year break when I did them all, picked it up again. I kept trying to tool away at it. And when I finally got a producer attached to the film and kind of went into high gear in financing, as I was trying to cast the film with the cast you just mentioned, it took a while, and that's when I started doing Siddharth. But that was a very probably the most personal film I'll ever make, most inwardly looking.
And strangely, both that film and this involve a disappearance.
Yeah, strangely. I mean, this one is a father searching for a missing son. That one is a son searching for a missing father. And it really, I didn't know this until we were both done.
Do you and your dad need to sit down? And
We have a great relationship. It's really strange. I had to even warn him. I had to say, look, don't worry when you see I'll follow you down. I don't really have daddy issues. But it did stem from a line in Jurassic Park. It started it all. And when I was 14 years old, I went to see that film with my parents. And it was in a point where my parents had told me they were getting divorced, but they hadn't separated yet. It was the last thing we ever did together. So my mom was on one side, my dad was on the other. We're watching this film. And Gandhi is my favorite movie. So I thought, why the hell is Richard Attenborough acting in this film? And I loved the film, but I was really paying attention to him. And he says a line in it where he goes, I don't blame people for their mistakes, but I do ask that they pay for them. And I felt this palpable reaction from both of my parents of maybe the weight of what's about to happen was sinking in on them, the consequences on us as children. And I never forgot that. And this film is about that idea of consequences, about people making choices and being mindful of the impact that they have.
Very cool. And it was shot in Canada.
Yeah, shot in Toronto, first time in 7-8 years.
And how was that experience?
Very different from Siddharth.
Did you go home at night?
I
Or
did.
Did you go stay out on location? Try
No,
to keep it
I went home, and it was weird because, obviously you have very strong union rules here. You have very strict method of shooting. It was amazing, but at the same time, on Siddharth, we finished every day maybe 2 hours early. There was a looseness to it. Here, it was wall-to-wall shooting. And when I went home at night, it was the first time I had stayed home on a production. When the film ended, I had to leave town because I'm like, my house is not associated with rest right now.
Right.
I got to get the hell out of here.
It's a weird thing.
It is.
Well, congratulations on all the successes this year so far, and may they continue. Rajesh, congratulations on not only on your role in the film, but on your writing credit for some of the dialogue on the film.
Thank you.
Well deserved, and a pleasure to watch.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks.
Yeah, no worries. You comfortable?
Great.